viewers, and by the Journal of Book of Mormon Studies, bringing you LDS research from scholars at BYU. Southern Virginia University, liberal arts in an LDS environment, svu.edu. Renaissance Ranch, treating addiction through gospel-centered solutions.
The following is a presentation of the BYU Sports Network.
Tonight, the Cougars seek revenge against UC Irvine after a tough loss earlier this season. The Anteaters are second in the conference and ranked #1 in the nation with a 19-3 record. The Cougars split last week with UCLA only a week after they swept Long Beach State and looked to upset the #1 team here tonight. It's #6 BYU versus #1 UC Irvine on BYU television, and it's right now. From the Smith Fieldhouse in Provo, Utah, it's men's volleyball on BYU television. Tonight we've got a marquee matchup nationally as the 6th-ranked BYU Cougars play host to the #1 ranked UC Irvine Anteaters. What's up, everybody? Jerem Jordan alongside Steve Allen. Welcome to another broadcast of men's volleyball. The Cougars have been playing some pretty good ball lately, winning 9 of their last 12. And they already met up with UCI earlier in the season, Steve, and it was a tough match that UCI won.
Yeah, they did. They won in 4. It was actually a lot closer than that. Each set was decided by about 2 points is all. So BYU, although they lost that match, was very, very competitive that night.
Looking at the conference standings so far in the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation, UC Irvine half a game back, #1 in the country, but not #1 in their own conference. They lost to Pepperdine earlier in the season. BYU, meanwhile, in 5th, looking to beat UC Irvine, and they're entering the gauntlet. They've got to win a couple of matches to be able to host a first-round tournament game. Well, the #1 team in the country is led by a freshman in Carson Clark, who is an outstanding opposite.
He really is. As you mentioned, a freshman this year, a 6'5" opposite hitter. In high school, all 4 years he was named All-CIF, and his senior year was named League Co-MVP, not to mention was named in the Fab 50 list in Volleyball Monthly magazine. That's all fine and good, but what has he done in college? Well, so far, he's leading the #1 team in the nation in kills with 231 and is hitting almost 400. Not to mention he's put up 15 service aces so far this year. So this kid is red hot right now.
Not too bad for a redshirt freshman. For the BYU Cougars, their leader really is the junior setter, Yamil Perez. He's always setting the ball, always touching it. They need him to be big tonight.
They really do. It's about time we talk about Yamil. He's really been the go-to guy for the Cougars this year. 3 great setters. Yamil's the guy. So far this year, he's leading the team, co-leading the team, I should say, with Andrew Stewart with 16 service aces. Look at that, he's put up 884 assists so far in the year. With his leadership and his set location, if BYU can pass well tonight, you know he's going to get the ball in the right hands.
In men's volleyball, the Cougars don't have a rival per se. They don't play the Utah Utes because they don't field the men's volleyball team. But the Anteaters have been a nice substitute. Robbie Bullough has more on that.
That's right, Jerem. This is the 4th straight season when both UC Irvine and BYU have played each other in conference play, with one of the two being ranked #1 in the nation. It was BYU the last 3 years and UC Irvine this year. Back in 06, UC Irvine upset #1 BYU in both matches, and then in 07, as #1 and #2, they split matches in regular season play before the Anteaters won the rubber match, as it were, in the MPSF semifinals. Then last year, BYU beat UC Irvine in all 3 matches, both conference matches in California, and then one in the MPSF quarterfinals. And they've split in exhibition matches earlier this season. So these two teams in the last few years have been really competitive when they've played each other.
Yep, UC Irvine won in the fall, and then, or BYU won in the fall, then UC Irvine won now in the regular season. Sean Patchell said, this is the rubber match, and we want to win it. So don't go away. It's #1 ranked UCI, #6 BYU, and it's next on BYU television.
I'm gonna have to call you back.
Welcome back to the home of the national championships this year, the Final Four. The NCAA tournament is just 4 teams, 3 auto bids from the 3 conferences, and then an at-large, so 2 of those teams always from the MPSF, and BYU hoping to be here, as well as the Anteaters. And speaking of, here's the starting lineups for the Anteaters. Ryan Ammerman is the setter. His sister plays for Texas A&M and 8 BYU alive in an earlier game in the fall. Jordan Dufault is an outside hitter. Taylor Wilson, the other one, an opposite, Carson Clark. And then Kevin Wynn, number 19 as well. Your libero will be number 8, Brent Asuka. Number 1, UC Irvine Anteaters, coached by John Spara. 7th season, 131-72. He was an assistant coach in the Olympics for the United States under Hugh McCutcheon, former BYU player and assistant coach as well. Successful as a coach, and 2007, they won the national championship. Starters for the BYU Cougars.
Cougars putting up a familiar lineup. Kent Tuttle again gets the start as the opposite. Yamil Perez, we talked about him earlier, setting. Joel Silva as the libero. Andrew Stewart and Alex Dupron as the outside hitters. Alex being able to get a little more playing time as he's really proven himself in the last few matches. So BYU coach there, Sean Patchell, has been very successful with the Cougars, 62-19. In his 3rd year, 77% win percentage. So Cougars have their hands full tonight, but they've got the squad to get it done.
BYU in the white shirt, blue shorts, and UC Irvine going with the gray top, blue shorts, white socks. Should be a good one tonight. We've been looking forward to this one for a couple of weeks. UC Irvine, number 1 in the country, against the 6th-ranked BYU Cougars, and we've talked about this in previous broadcasts, but from the start of the season to now, BYU has grown tremendously, and that early season and young, inexperienced BYU team played UC Irvine tough. I'm sure the Anteaters have grown as well, but we expect a good match tonight. Keys to the match for UCI.
Yes, UCI, they've got 6 guys with service aces in the double digits, so regardless of the fact that they're in a little higher elevation, they've got to really bring it from the service line. And they also, I mean, they need to just not look past the Cougars and play like the number 1 team in the nation. They just need to take care of business on their side of the net and play like the number 1 team.
Jordan Dufault, 6'4" sophomore outside hitter from Lakewood, California, and St. John Bosco High School will start things off here in set number 1 from Provo. Outside to Stewart, off of the touch. Great dig on the back line by Dufault. Tuttle will start it off for BYU. Outside to Tuttle. Stewart again, and Stewart starts BYU off nicely, 1-0. Keys to the match for the BYU Cougars, Steve.
BYU, they need to really just slow everything down and play this match 1 play at a time. Not get ahead of themselves, not get down mentally if they start to fall back in the score. They just need to really take care of business on their side of the net, do what they can do, and I think they're going to have a run against these guys.
Service error for Kent Tuttle. BYU, one of the better home teams in the country, 7-2 this season. Meanwhile, UCI, the best team on the road in the nation, 7-1. Outside to the opposite, Kent Tuttle, and Tuttle, it goes out of play by just a hair. A big block put up by Taylor Wilson, and Ryan Ammerman, a 6'8" setter, puts up a big block on the other side of the net as well. 2-1 BYU.
Yeah, that was about a ½ inch away from just being a house. Oh, nice touch.
Tuttle out of play. Nice swing and kill. I believe it was Austin Diamore. Diamore, a 6'5" freshman middle blocker from Laguna Hills, California, Laguna Hills High School. Played last year on the junior national team, coached by Sean Patchell. A very intimate group in men's volleyball because you got all sorts of guys from California that know each other, played high school against each other, or play in the MPSF. played for the junior national team. Everyone kind of knows each other. It's a real tight-knit group.
Yeah, that's very important as a volleyball team. You've really got to be able to trust your guys and get along with them on and off the court.
Diamore out of play. BYU up 3-2, 4-2 make it in the early going. Here in Provo, Futi Tavana will serve it up. 2 weeks ago, Tavana named National Player of the Week and Co-Mountain Pacific Sports Federation Player of the Week as well. Sean Patchell excited about that, saying he deserved that. It's about time. Then the next week, last week that is, against UCLA, didn't put together the best matches, and he says we need him to be more consistent. Hey, great he got those Player of the Week awards, but hey, we needed him against UCLA more.
Yeah. And he needs to show up tonight for sure. Cougars really need him tonight. And I was noticing an interesting thing. Their middle blockers, like the shortest guy in the front row. The setter's 6'8", outside hitters up there. And he's like the short guy at 6'5", and taking care of business.
Austin Diamore, another one, 6'5" freshman. Not often 6'5" is considered short. 4-4 the score here in set number 1.
Nice turn there across his body, finding the open court.
Diamore, a match high 3 kills so far. This is Taylor Wilson, 6'7" senior opposite. And in, hits the line. BYU and the fans don't agree, but a service ace, the first tonight. And you mentioned the prowess from the line by UCI. 6 guys in double figures for service aces. Taylor Wilson, one of them, making number 17 on the year.
Yeah, that's a big number. Top service aces for the Y we mentioned. Andrew Stewart and Yamil both have 16.
Great dig by Carson Clark, our player to watch. Tight on the net and blocked by Tavana. No, excuse me. Rusty Levalle and Yamil. 5-5.
Yeah, Jordan Dufall trying to go after that ball that was set about 2 inches off the net. Huge Cougar block, great penetration. Just clamped that straight down.
UC Irvine, number 1 in the country in blocks per set. BYU, 3rd in the country. Perez. Back row attack by Taylor Wilson. The dig and the spike. 6'5" Anteaters.
There's some pretty nice heat on that jump serve. The difference between a good jump serve and a great jump serve is that same serve, but away from the serve-receive player. That was right in his pocket, so he made a perfect pass and then just detonated with the kill.
Diamore with the serve to Alex Dupron.
Ouch.
Levalle, Rusty Levalle, the freshman, with the kill.
There's a gorgeous pass there by Alex Dupron. Pretty nice speed on that serve, but he handles it well. Gives Yamil great opportunity to run the middle, which they've got to do early. They've got to set that middle up to free up their outsides.
Dupron on the serve, the swing, and Tuttle with the big block up and over the net. Another block and touched, and that one's saved, and UCI with the chance there.
Wait, what happened there?
The up official, I believe Tom Given.
I'm really curious, unless that
Mike
ball
Ferris,
went inside the antenna out of bounds. I don't think it did. I thought it went outside and came back outside. But I guess they're gonna.
It looked like, yeah, it looked like it was outside the whole time.
I'm the one that went
Here's
out.
the block. No, that went outside, unless it hit the antenna or the net or something on the way out.
Didn't hit the antenna.
Yeah, I'm really curious by that call. I don't know if that's the right call.
Mike Farish, our up official, down officials Tom Given, and they're discussing it right now, and they conclude that it is BYU's point.
Interesting.
7-6 Cougars. Take a look at Alex Dupron there. Dupron redshirted for the Anteaters in 2007, then transferred to BYU, and is happy to be a Cougar now and getting some major playing time here at the end of the season. He did not play much during the beginning and middle of the season, but down the stretch here, he has played for the Cougars and played well at outside hitter.
Played very well.
That finds the court Kevin Wynn, the 6'7" sophomore, with the kill. If you have questions or comments tonight about the broadcast or about BYU sports in general, you can email tvsports@byu.edu. That's tvsports@byu.edu. Brian Ammerman off the tape. Dupron, Perez to his knees. Not the best for Stewart, but he makes something out of nothing there. That set was barely enough to swing at.
That is a brilliant swing there by Andrew Stewart. Watch how easy he swings at this ball. Just looking for a little touch off the block and out of bounds. Didn't have to bomb away. Just a nice controlled swing. aiming at the elbows, just like the movie Side Out told us.
Speaking of movies, John Spera is going to be in a movie called Beach Kings. It's going to come out in June.
Really?
He's one of the TV commentators in it.
Really?
He's on IMDb.com. He made it that far. That's one of my personal goals, is to get to IMDb.com somehow.
That's huge. That's huge.
So yeah, check that out in June.
So Beach Kings, this is a beach volleyball movie?
Yeah. Yeah, it's something, I believe it's like that. Yeah. Check it out, IMDb.com. Spera's going to make it in. BYU with another point, 10-8. It was called the Green Flash, I believe, but they changed the name to Beach Kings.
I think Beach Kings is more suiting. That's a nice touch there by DePron, seeing a lot of open real estate over there and finding it.
Kent Tuttle, Ammerman, way out of play. That one's sailing to Orem.
Taylor Wilson got a little handcuffed on that pass. It caught him real high on the arms, didn't make the best of passes, and that ball sailed way long.
It's now 10-8, excuse me, called it 10-8 to play before. Tuttle continues for the Cougars, the 6'6" junior opposite from El Dorado Hills, California. Played high school volleyball with former BYU wide receiver Austin Colley. Elevation, swing, and kill. That was good stuff from Carson Clark, the 6'5" redshirt freshman from Santa Barbara, California, who we talked about a few moments ago. 10-9 Cougars. You grew up in Santa Barbara?
I did, and he probably wasn't even born when I left. How sad is that?
Stewart again, big block in the net. And Tavana, third time's the charm for Futi Tavana.
Tavana taking that ball to Spiketown. Population Futi Tavana. Nice job there, almost inside the 10-foot line.
Outside and inside the block by Taylor Wilson. Wilson with his third kill tonight. UCI hitting about 250 right now. Cougars close to 600, but just up by 1.
It was unfortunate for the Cougars. They were all over that attack. They just need to get over the net, and that ball we blocked straight down.
Carson Clark serving for the Anteaters. Kent Tuttle with the kill. Tuttle with another one, 2 for him. And BYU, we've talked about their depth in previous broadcasts, but if it's not Kent Tuttle, it's Matt Taylor. They've got some serious depth at opposite.
Yeah, they do. Either way, it's a golden ticket because both those guys hit in the teens every night.
Tavana with another service error. The last 4 matches, BYU has averaged 21 service errors per match, struggling in that category. Third tonight, 12-11 the score. Taylor Wilson from Mission Viejo, California. Joel Silva tied on the net, the joust there. And UCI over the net. BYU awarded the point, 13-11.
Emil being very patient on that pass. That thing came down with snow on it. Waited his turn, waited so long, in fact, that drew the UCI block into the net. KG veteran as a junior.
Emil Perez. What a serve, and it goes back over to Rusty Levaya. Joust there, and still up. Asuka comes up. Another one. 3 straight joust. That one over, and here's Tuttle. Alex Dupron to touch Asuka in the right place. The libero doing his job. Dufault blocked, and BYU roofs him.
BYU came to play some ball tonight. Doing a nice job so far, up 14-11. The shell-shocked Anteaters. BYU doing what they do at the net. Always have been a huge, huge net playing team. Very big at the net.
14-11, way out. Perez with a team-leading 76th service error on the season.
I like his aggressiveness there. Yeah, he missed that by a couple feet, but he dials that in, and that's going to give the Anteaters all they can handle.
14-12 the score. BYU with 3.5 blocks, and that one well out of play. Timeout on the court. BYU with a 3-point lead halfway through set number 1. Cougars hitting over 500, up by 3 on the number 1 team of the country. We'll be back in a moment with men's volleyball on BYU television.
Ask our Father what dreams are made of.
Some dreams.
And He'll tell you hard work.
Live on in time forever.
We were kids, and He expected us to build the Great Wall of Philadelphia.
Those dreams you want with all your heart.
And He wanted it to be perfect. No friends, no football, nothing.
It takes. Follow through with the promise I made.
But over the months, we stuck with it.
Put it all on.
And when it was finally finished, all He said was,
"Don't ever tell me there's something you can't do."
But you know, He was wrong. There is something I can't do. I can't thank Him enough.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
BYU up 15-12 on UC Irvine, hitting .533. UC Irvine hitting .143. Match high 3 kills is by Austin Diamore so far, and so far so good for the BYU Cougars. Former Anteater and current Cougar Alex Dupron, a little too soft into the net. Another freebie. It's 15-13. I don't think BYU can win this match if they struggle from the service line with the errors like they have so far.
Yeah, they haven't even really been bringing it either. That's the scary thing. If they're going to miss serves, they got to really go after it.
5 service errors for BYU so far. 15-13 the score. Outside to Kent Tuttle, and Kent Tuttle with another one. Tuttle with no swinging errors so far. He has a block assist and 3 kills tonight.
It was a great set and an even better swing there by Kent Tuttle. One-on-one on the opposite. Lots of court.
Too tight, pushed off, and probably would have gone out, but saved, and BYU is up by 5. 17-13 timeout. John Spera and the UC Irvine Anteaters.
Yeah, one thing I mentioned, one of the keys to the match for Irvine is to play like the #1 team. Where were they hitting at the break? 143? Yeah, #1 team in the nation does not hit 143, so they've got to turn some things around offensively. BYU, I'd like to see them get a little more aggressive with their serves, but BYU handling the Anteaters early on.
Well, Sean Patchett, we caught up with him this week and asked him a little bit about playing #1 UCI this weekend.
We want to beat the #1 team, and that's pretty much it. We have a good scout on them. We've had them here in the fall. They were our guests at our tournament, and we got to play them here, and we beat them in the fall, so it's a nice measuring stick to play them when it counts. And it's not a mistake. They're #1. It's a nice team, but we like playing them in the Smith Fieldhouse.
And BYU loves to play in the Smith Fieldhouse. 7-2 this season, and they have been dominant since 1997. BYU has been absolutely awesome at home, winning 166 of 188 matches since '97. And Rusty Levaya just hit it into the net. Looked pretty casual on that.
Yeah, that's the second time in a row after a timeout the Cougars have served into the net. And not tough serves either, just easy float serves that find the middle of the net.
And that one out of play as well.
Yeah, you mentioned that the Cougars do really well at home. There was talk a few years ago of the Cougars moving their home court into the Marriott Center to try to draw bigger crowds. But the fear was that they would therefore lose their home court advantage. I mean, playing in this gym, this is their home. I mean, this is where they absolutely play stellar volleyball, and they didn't want to lose that. So that's why we're still here, and I'm glad they are. I love this venue.
Yeah, so far, Alex Dupron with the heat, but dug up by Asuka. Joel Silva comes up. Cougars up by 4. Huge points here. Andrew Stewart with the kill, 19-14. BYU playing a good set 1.
Dupron just absolutely unloaded on that ball with no block up. Huge defensive move by the Anteaters to keep that ball alive, but the Cougars are just too much in the end. That was some awesome ball right there.
First time tonight we'll see from UCI, #1, John Steller, a 6'7" senior. It's pretty good on the other side of the net, swinging. Keep an eye out on it. This one blocked but out of play off of Perez, point UCI. Cougars with a critical stretch right here, up by 4, close to the 20s. Yeah. Kevin Wynn will serve.
Yamil was all over that swing, but unfortunately he was turned just a little bit outside the court. That's exactly where the ball ended up.
Wynn right at DePron, good first pass outside to Tuttle, and Tuttle too strong with it. I was going to say a moment ago, until BYU gets close to 5,000 every match, I don't think that's really an argument that needs to be made. Right now, BYU averaging about 2,000.
Yeah.
So they have some work to do in the Smith Fieldhouse in terms of attendance.
The last couple of years, I mean, they were selling out, you know, regularly. I mean, you came in at 7 o'clock and you weren't getting in the gym. But you're right. This year, I don't know what the deal is with the crowd, but they're not showing up like they used to.
Tomorrow night, promotion to try and pack the house, break the Smith Fieldhouse record of 6,100. So we will keep an eye out on that, as tomorrow night we'll bring you the broadcast as well, live at 7 p.m. Same 2 teams, same place, same channel, right here on BYU Television, the only place you can watch BYU men's volleyball. 20-17, John Steller, 17 service aces on the season. The flying lefty with the service error, make it 39 for him on the year. Cougars up by 4, 21-17.
Yeah, at this point, the Cougars can just side out their way to victory. Anteater's got to do something special here to make up those 3 points.
Back up center, Reed Chilton, 6'3" junior from Centerville, Ohio. On your screen, he will serve for BYU. 8 service aces with 18 service errors on the season. Reed pretty reliable in getting it over. Make it 19 on the year, and I'll take the blame for that one. We mentioned, yeah, my bad. The last 4 matches, BYU has struggled from the service line, like we mentioned, 21 per match. The last 4, and that's not going to help you win at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe need to take like a full service or foot fault.
3B for the Cougars. This would be big for BYU to take set number 1. We mentioned they met earlier. It was not a conference match, but they did meet in Santa Barbara. BYU lost that in 4 sets, but they were all tough. 3 of those sets decided by 2. The final set decided by 3. Both teams have made some strides, but I think BYU at home has got to feel good about their chances tonight. Yamil Perez up, center out. Rusty Levaya very high. Kent Tuttle the block, able to have time to get over, but out of play. Cougars up by 5 with 7 to go in set 1.
That's a tough ball for the Anteaters. Anytime anybody but the setter is setting a play, especially a set that high, they should have been all over. And they were, but just barely out of bounds.
Well, this broadcast is copyrighted and is owned exclusively by Brigham Young University. Any reproduction, retransmission, or rebroadcast without prior written consent by BYU is expressly prohibited. Cougars up by 5 in set 1, 23-18, hitting 500. UCI just 158 so far. The Cougars with 4.5 blocks. UCI so far the #1 team in the country, Steve, with none.
Yeah, wow. They are they're not playing like a #1 team right now, and I know that'll change as the night goes on and they get warm and get out the first game jitters. But glad to see the Cougars have really come out to play some ball tonight, and they've just right off the bat they're playing some good volleyball.
Last meeting we mentioned a 4-set victory for UCI. It was 3-1, and BYU once again hoping tonight to win what Sean Patrick called the rubber match. BYU hosted a tournament in which they had a couple of MPSF teams in Provo, and BYU defeated UC Irvine, so that was a good confidence builder. Futi Tabana was the tournament MVP in that fall tournament, just exhibitions, but that was valuable experience for a team like BYU, which tomorrow night would be senior night, but there are no seniors on BYU's team. So it's the final home match.
It's junior night.
Yeah, junior night. And we'll have all sorts of, next year they'll have all sorts of seniors to celebrate, but not this year. 23-18, Yamil Perez.
Nice serve by Yamil.
Outside and out of play by Jordan Dufault. BYU up 24-18. Up by 6 with 6 to go.
Yamil going with a little cutty serve. Cut the serve receive off guard a little bit, push it to the outside, and just bit off a little too much line there. Out of bounds by about 4 inches.
3-0 run by the Cougars. Yamil service here. 24-19. Up by 5 with 6 to go. BYU's got to close this out.
Yeah, I can't imagine unless they absolutely, the wheels fall off, all they got to do here. And the thing is that Anteaters haven't been putting pressure on them. They can't seem to get a serve in. So there you go.
Outside and blocked. 24-20 the score. Robbie Bullough has more on the importance of winning set 1. Robbie.
Well, Jaron, much like a best-of-5 series maybe in the NBA, winning game 1's important. For BYU, this first set has been a key all year. They're only 11-12 in the first set, but when they do win the first one, they end up going, they're 9-2. They win 9 of those matches. So winning the first set, if you're BYU, has been critical to show whether or not they win or lose this season.
That's exactly right. Thanks, Robbie. The Cougars are best in sets 2 and 3. Surrounding that break at halftime, they're very good. So yeah, set 1 would be big right now. 5 to go. Alex Dupron, former Anteater, with a nice serve.
Nice
good hit by Reinholm, but Dupron
got the pipe up top. It's unfortunate. It's a great pass. It was hit off the top of the block, and Dupron made a great move. Just unfortunate off the ceiling.
25-21. Brian Ammerman, 6'8" senior, from Parker, Colorado. Off the tape. Stewart has to use his left hand. In comes Ammerman. A jumping set there. And Silva there. An awkward sequence for both teams. And Rustin will buy off of Ammerman. It's 26-21.
Both sides of the net having to make a little bit of an acrobatic move there to keep the ball in play. But great set there by Yamil. Going with Rusty, who bombs it right past the middle blocker.
Joe Kaliakamoa. Here's Ammerman, back set. Thunder there. Tuttle tries to keep it up, but cannot.
Shoot.
Cole Reinholm and Kent Tuttle goes crashing.
That sounded like he hit his head really
into
hard.
the framing. And he'll get up and come over, then he'll stop. And out comes the trainer. My goodness.
Yeah, that
he
sounded really loud.
into, and now he's holding his head, as he should. My goodness, may have hit his shoulder too, neck, but BYU.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, he really just full steam ahead into the bleachers. There's no padding. I think he was expecting to hit the padding, the barrier, and there's a break right there for people to walk, and he just absolutely tattooed that thing on the back of his head. That was loud all the way up here.
Looked like he might have a little bit of blood on his jersey on the right side there, Tuttle.
Yeah, he's got a probably pretty nice gash. He's probably done for the night, I'm thinking. He got up pretty quick, tough kid, but yeah, he's probably going to be on his way to get some stitches, is my guess.
Oh, wow, yeah, you see the blood streaming there out of the top of the forehead. Yeah, they're cleaning the floor right now, so a timeout on the floor, and unfortunate for BYU is Kent Tuttle will have to sub out. And BYU hopes that he is okay, and they need him as well. And for UC Irvine, and there's a much-needed break of momentum. You don't want to see anyone hurt, but a natural timeout coming in. Hopefully Tuttle's okay.
Well, you mentioned a few minutes ago how deep they are in the opposite position. Matt Taylor getting a chance to come in and take care of business on behalf of Kent Tuttle. And hopefully BYU will be able to make this transition. They should have a comfortable enough lead here at this point, this late in set 1. Really, all the pressure should be on the Anteaters. So we'll see how it pans out.
Well, Reinholm into the net, and that does not help the cause if you're the Anteaters. 27-22. The Anteaters are 19-3 on the season. They have not lost very many after a 2007 national championship. Decent in 08, now 09, trying to make a run at a national title. Stellar blocked, and that one goes off of the scoreboard and out of play. Point BYU. They're going to win set 1 unless UCI does something miraculous. 28-22, a dominating set 1 performance so far by the Cougars. UCI just a single block. They're #1 in the country at that, hitting 125. Meanwhile, BYU 5.5 blocks and hitting 435. Matt Taylor. Taylor Wilson, here's Ammerman, back to Taylor and Roof. No, inside the block, point UCI, 28-23.
That really was a play ago, and an awesome block by Andrew Stewart, who the hitter was clearly trying to go off his hands and out of bounds, and he just turned his hands back into the court and just housed it. So Cougars unable to get that last block, trickled inside, kind of squirted through, but 28-23, a commanding lead.
4 kills for Taylor and another service error. That sets up set point for BYU in set number 1. This is how BYU wanted to start the match. Play a solid set 1. Win it, and BYU on the verge here, up by 6. Stewart. Outside to Wilson off the touch. DePron, no, it's Silva. Over to Taylor, has to swing. And BYU over the net. 29-24.
It's a beautiful swing by Matt, but his toe went across the 10-foot line, and that's a big no-no in college volleyball. Hell, any volleyball, really, when you're in the back row. And, yeah, called over, unfortunately.
John Skeller. Off the tape, Silva for set 1. Onto the other side. What a dig on the back row. Tabanat. That was Reinholm and UCI into the net, and BYU wins set 1, 30-24.
On a net violation. That's unfortunate. They made some great plays. The Anteaters did on that rally, but yeah, you cannot touch the net.
Taylor Wilson into the net, and BYU up 1-0, and I think this is how they wanted to start things, Steve.
Yeah, you know, we talked about keys of the match for Irvine. Play like the #1 team in the country. Not really, not so far. And tough serves. Their serves have been brutal tonight. They got to get those going.
BYU 9-2 on the season when they win set 1. They are up 1-0 in Provo on the #1 team in the country. We'll be back with set 2 in a moment on BYU TV. They're going to look at just some of the sports that you see here on BYU television. This is the place for BYU sports on TV. Try and just name all those sports that happened. The last of which we did was rugby last Saturday, and that was awesome. 111-3 over Utah State. Well, here in Provo, BYU up 1-0. A dominating first set performance, Steve, by the Cougars. As we take a look at the first set stats, they hit well and they blocked well to start things.
Yeah, BYU just dominated all over the place in that first set. They kind of came back to earth a little bit in their hitting percentage. They were up over 500 for most of that set. Came back down to 385. Irvine never got above 200. Not their best hitting percentage ever. Kills were pretty similar. Made a few more digs in the Cougars. Cougars had 5.5 blocks and similar service errors. However, Cougars just got it down at the net.
Cougars 6th in the country, and this is the first of their last 6 matches of the season, in which they will play UC Irvine tonight and tomorrow, next week at Stanford for 2, and then the week after that at Pepperdine. Those are all tough matches, and if BYU wants to host a first-round MPSF tournament match, they're going to have to go, I think, 4-2 in those. And the least of those matches is going to be Stanford. But the other two, Stanford's going to be tough. BYU already lost them. Pepperdine, ranked 2nd in the country. UC Irvine, ranked number 1. This is tough. And BYU wins the first set off of Silva. And unlike set 1, UCI starts things off up 1-0.
Yeah, you mentioned it. They're running the gauntlet right now. They've got nothing but tough teams in front of them. But you also mentioned they're peaking right now. As mentioned by their head coach, Sean Patchell, they're playing awesome volleyball right now, as we just saw in that first set. So they keep it up, and they got the energy in the net there. They keep it up, they're going to have a shot.
Out of the Cougars' last 12, their only losses have come as they got swept in 2 matches to CSUN, Cal State Northridge, March 5th and 6th, and then they lost last weekend on Friday to UCLA. Other than that, quality wins over 4th-ranked Penn State, defending national championships, neutral court, and then 5th-ranked Long Beach State. 2 5-set victories, one of which you saw here on BYU TV 2 weeks ago on March 21st. Just an epic rally by BYU to come back and then went down 4 in set 5. BYU with some pressure to play play well and play well against the best. 2-1 UCI. All sorts of violations. Two service line violations by UCI so far. Kent Tuttle got hurt in set 1. Robbie Bulla has more on his status.
Well, Jeremy, sitting over on the bench, he did get a cut on the top of his head from when he dove for that ball. He's holding some gauze on there, and the blood's coming through the gauze pretty well. They have a doctor on the way. He'll be here in about 10 minutes. They don't know whether or not he needs stitches, but they're telling me probably he will need stitches.
Yeah, looking at the blood coming out of his head, yeah, you would probably think that. Thanks, Robbie, for that update.
I'm no doctor, but I'm going to say, yeah, about 99% sure.
But you did stay at a Holiday Inn last night?
Yeah. Maybe I'll run over there and stitch him up real quick.
Taylor Wilson. Excuse me, that's Justin Diamore. Futi Tavana off the touch, point BYU. We're tied up at 3.
Man, we had a really nice play by the setter a couple plays ago where the pass was real tight of the net, big block up against him, and just tipped it right past him to the corner. It was a sweet play, like slow motion.
Wow. Joel Silva from Carson Clark, my goodness. Free ball. Asuka starts it off. Too far. Andrew Stewart up. Yamil Perez at the scorer's table and over. Carson Clark, no chance. The redshirt freshman bringing the heat.
Man, that was...
Where was he in set 1?
Yeah, seriously. I didn't think we called his name once. But that set right there, that was like a front row hitter set. He came all the way out of the back row to hit that and just hammered it.
1 kill in set 1 for Clark. He had 20 the last match against Hawaii. Point UCI on that. BYU out of play. Anteaters up 2 in set 2.
Now BYU, one of the things we didn't mention early on that we probably should have is they have a tendency to kind of let down a little bit in the second set after winning the first. They've really got to keep that intensity up and keep the pressure on the Anteaters.
Quickly to Tavana and Asuka. Even quicker, able to get that up. Taylor out of play. And I thought there was some touch. Is that what the call? Or I think there might have been a violation anyway. It's BYU's point, no indication.
Yeah, I didn't see what call he made there, but I thought it just hit the tape, but maybe they did get a touch there.
Cougars down 1. Tavana on the serve. Asuka. Blocked, put out of play. DePron and Lavaya were right there. Lavaya's 8th in the country, right? That man on your screen in blocks per set. DePron, built more like a linebacker, able to get up as well, but out of play, 6-4.
Yeah, DePron's got some hops. He was just about a half a second late on that block. Was just closing it up when the hitter went off him, and it was about 4 inches out of bounds.
Stewart, back row attack. Asuka. Ammerman, another back row attack. but into the net. I talked with DePron earlier in the week about his grandpa emailing us saying put in number 23 and then him getting in. And Grandpa was very pleased that he was able to, ask and receive immediately. And DePron said, yeah, that night he called me on the phone and we chatted about it and had a good laugh. That one out of play.
He has every reason to be on that court. He has been an integral part of this offense ever since.
So if you have questions or comments on the broadcast or for us, you can email us at tvsports@byu.edu. That's tvsports@byu.edu. Tied for Perez. DePron went with the cut shot. May have been saved into play by Ammerman. Either way, BYU in transition. Back row, Stewart.
Wow.
Inside the block. Point BYU. 7-7 the score.
That play has run so quickly that the block is almost still up after trying to go after the middle hitter. So that's such a fast offensive set from the back row. It's beautiful.
Correction, 7-6. Cougars still down. Carson Clark off ahead.
Great soft block there by the Cougars.
Matt Taylor. Taylor with the kill.
Matt's starting to find his stride a little bit. Getting more and more comfortable. My feeling is he's just going to take off in this match. I only say that because that's what he's done every other time he's played.
Andrew Stewart. Aya. 8-7 BYU.
Spike down. We got two residents now. A nice swing there by Stewart.
A hitter's dream. A set from the other team.
Yeah, that is a fun ball to hit.
4-1 run by BYU. Ammerman to Clark, and Clark off of the touch of Lavaya and Stewart. We're tied up at 8. Clark will serve.
Not the best pass of the night. Setter able to get his hands on it, and Clark cleaning it up. See if Clark can get this jump serve of his going. Been fairly quiet so far in the night.
Good first pass by DePron outside to Stewart. Went line off of the chest of Clark. Stewart again way off the net, has to go soft, easy dig. Now Clark, not so easy. Off the touch, DePron in the right place, but BYU probably won't get a good swing, and they don't swing at all. For the lead. Clark got it. That was way too easy. No one on the ground. And Clark with another kill tonight. 4 for him. That ties a team high for UCI.
Clark's just picking that BYU defense apart. Right there, not the hardest swing, but just great vision of the court, seeing that hard ankle open, and just putting it where the Cougars weren't. Whoa!
Wow.
Apparently a fan said something that Clark didn't appreciate because he hit that right at him.
The fans in the front row calling him out for that one.
Wow.
Hey, it's a point for BYU, 9-9. Keep your eye on the ball. Look out. And we're not even out of the way on press row.
Yeah, no kidding.
A touch, Stewart up. Stewart, and that's 4 hits. Just into the net. Couldn't get an approach on it. Anteaters retake the lead. Cougars up 1-0 here in set 2.
Stewart taking a lot off that swing. Just fortunately wasn't as high in the air as he thought he was. Straight off the tape and down.
Stewart, good first pass to Yamil. Gets it back. One on the block, but he hit it out.
Stewart, a couple of rare hitting errors by him. Mental errors.
You have 3 errors on the night, just hitting 143, has 5 kills, which is a match high. Those 3 errors are big. 11-9 Anteaters. Stewart again. Right to Asuka, who trapped it underneath his knee. Too much by Andrew Stewart, the junior.
It's a great swing there by Stewart. I know Patchell would not hesitate to throw Sagers in there, but Stewart doing a nice job there recovering, coming back and hammering that last ball. Oh,
Taylor with the ace, 12th ace on the season by Matt Taylor. Coming in for the injured Kent Tuttle, 11-11. Quick 2-0 run by the Cougars.
I mentioned earlier the difference between a good serve and a great serve. We've seen a lot of harder serves tonight that have been passed perfectly, but that one away from the serve receive, making them have to move. Great serve by him. Wow, nice set.
Clark off the touch, and another one for Clark. Surprised he doesn't get more attacks. So far, 5 kills for Clark, ties a match high, 2 errors, 2 digs.
That was a gorgeous set there by Ryan.
Clark can leap. My goodness. Flying southpaw. For the tie, Tavanagh just had to tap it.
Emil knows that set was about 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet low. Tavanagh having to come back for it. Block all over it. Cougars not playing great in set 2. Still, they're hanging around at 11-13.
Austin Diamore. Stewart. Emil has to come to the back row. Taylor has to push it and got it inside the block, but able to keep it alive. A BYU. Stewart. DePron up. Taylor has to come over, and Stewart's got to hit it over the net, and he does. But out of play. A smart read on the edge by the Anteaters, and they go up by 3 in set 2. That's enough for a BYU timeout. 3-0 run by the Anteaters. Cougars up 1-0. Anteaters playing better in set number 2, hitting close to 500. The Cougars hanging around 100. We'll be back with the rest of set 2 right here on BYU TV.
My name is Va'afuti Tavanagh. Everyone knows me as Futi. I'm originally from Samoa, but I came from Hawaii. I live on an island called Kauai. I play middle blocker. Well, some of my hobbies would probably be just hanging out with the family. I like to go to the beach and play a little bit of beach volleyball. I come from a pretty big family. I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers. We're pretty tight knitted. I actually have a younger brother. His name is Devin, and he plays football down at Snow College. All my siblings, they all played basketball, football growing up. As far as music goes, I really like hip-hop, rap. I really love island music, just that chill music. I love food. As you can tell, I'm Polynesian, I'm Samoan. I really love Samoan food, some taro and some pork with some coconut cream. Well, I just want to say hi to my family and all my friends who help out. Cameron, what's up?
Welcome back to Provo, Utah in the Smith Fieldhouse. BYU up 1-0, trailing by 3 in set 2. We just saw Futi Tavanagh a moment ago. You want to guess his shoe size?
15.
16.
Ooh.
If you're just joining us, you're watching Brigham Young University men's volleyball versus the University of California, Irvine. Anteaters on BYU TV. This is the place for BYU sports on television. Another one for UCI, pulling away in set 2, up by 4, 15-11. Important time for the Cougars coming out of that timeout. And in comes Kevin Sagers for Andrew Stewart. BYU mixing it up.
Stewart struggling a little bit. It looked like Emil's location in the last few sets this set, well, sets this set, it's a lot of sets, he struggled a little bit with the location. Hitters having a hard time finding the court. Not a hard time finding the block. They've been blocked quite a bit. I think they're hitting in the mid-200s right now, or just over 300. But, you know, losing this set, but I don't think it's really the Anteaters doing a whole lot. I think the Cougars have just really cooled off in this second set. They're not in rhythm. They're not playing in system and having a hard time flowing right now.
And that's what gives you hope as a BYU fan for the potential to go to the national championships is BYU doesn't need people to play poorly. They can play well enough to beat people. And so it's kind of in their control.
It totally is.
Yeah, they're not going to be one of the top 5 teams favored to win it, but they're a team that could be right here May 7th and 9th. Let's toss it out to Robbie Bullock.
All right, Jeremy, these first 2 sets today have gone a lot like the matches against UCLA went last week. UCLA beating BYU in the first match, which Coach Patrick said was just really uncharacteristic of the team. When I asked him if he thought UCLA had beat him or if they beat themselves, he said UCLA is a good team, but this is on us. One of the things he talked about was Yamil's serving. He ended up bringing in Reed Chilton because he didn't think Yamil was setting a very good game. Set 1 here tonight, did a great job. Set 2, he seems to be struggling a little bit.
Yeah, BYU is a team having its struggles right now, and on their against the wall, down 17-12. Sagers on the back row, and that one out of play. 18-12. Cougars losing the handle here as UC Irvine on a 7-1 run. Timeout again by BYU and Sean Patchell. You get 2%, and that's number 2.
Yeah, I mean, his team is just falling apart right now. The wheels are coming off, and it's...
Let's check out Matt Taylor at practice this week, mic'd up.
Attaboy, Page. Oh, you were watching? Perfection, you say? Oh, that's gorgeous. Short, long, long, short, long, short, long, long, short. That was a seam, Stuart. That was a seam and a half. Let's see. I know I got a good joke. Hang on. Where does the captain keep his army? Where? In his sleeveys, of course. Oh, can we get a giddy up? Generally, there's not a person there. And that would be a seam. Oh. That's a nice shotty. Oh! Yep. Because you started, no? Perfect split. Perfect split. No netting. You go, you go. Did he? It wasn't me. Let's go perfect stew. It wasn't me. What a set. What a set. Oh, yeah. Still got it. Still got it.
Do you say that when you play volleyball? Ah, still got it.
Yeah. Only because I'm like 900 years old now.
Methuselah.
I hope he's still got it. What is he, 20?
Yeah, he's just a junior. He's older than 20, I know. I think 23 or 24. Huti Tabanov with the kill, a much needed kill for BYU. 18-13, down by 5. They've used their timeouts, and Tabanov will serve.
Yeah, Patchell can't do a whole lot except yell at his guys from the bench at this point. It's really on them to turn it around. And they're very much in this match. They just got to pull their heads out, and there you go, make plays like that.
Straight up by Sagers. Here's Taylor, and Taylor roofed. 19-13. This is UCI's set. Carson Clark, 5 kills for the redshirt freshman. Jordan Dufault, 6'4" sophomore outside hitter. Easily dug, BYU. Get a good look here, and they do. Rusty Lavaya with the smash. Lavaya and Tavanagh, BYU's 2 starting middle blockers, just freshmen. A bright future for the Cougars in that spot. Tavanagh is a return missionary. If I'm not mistaken, Lavaya is a member of another faith, and so they would be here all 4 years. 4 straight years, that is.
There you go. That's the kind of serving we need there from the Cougars.
Back row and easy stuff by Jordan Dufault, BYU. Caught off guard by that attack.
Even though the Anteaters seem to side out easily on that play, consistent tough serves like that from the Cougars are going to create opportunities for them by keeping the Anteaters out of system and having to push that ball outside where they can camp on it.
Lavaya again, wow, generating some quick arm movement. Another kill. BYU needs a run here. Down 5 with 15 to go for the Cougars.
Well, the Cougars are starting to turn it up a little bit. They're playing a lot better ball than they were a couple minutes ago. See if they can, even if they don't pull this set out, see if they can find a way to get momentum back going into this 3rd set.
Another service error from Carson Clark. 3rd service error this set for the Cougars. Cougars down by 6. Carson Clark. Lefty, Sagers right there. We'll get it again, and Sagers way out of play, but touch called, so point BYU. Anteaters don't believe it.
Anteaters were like, yeah, which one of us? None of us touched that ball.
Yeah, who was it?
Possibly. It looked like he tried to close the block just as he hit it, and the ball went right over his hands. But
would have been Ammerman.
Who are we to say?
Reed Chilton in to serve. Good serve. Back row and out. Out, no touch. Point BYU. Just down 4 now. 21-17.
The Cougars have room here. Guarantee you, if Reed puts that same serve on the line or finds the seam between the two passers, they're going to have a lot more trouble with that ball. Foot out.
22-17. Chilton out. Taylor Wilson.
Gotta say, see if the Cougars can put something together here. Side this first ball out.
That ball out. Team's trading service errors.
This again by about a foot.
Like you said, BYU with room, but it's got to happen now.
Yeah, they're definitely running out of time, but put a string together here. They've got Taverna at the net. Seen it before.
And that ball just out. 23-18. Cougars not helping themselves at the service table, if you will.
Coach Paschal was just pacing up and down the bench.
Service errors by the Cougars, 11 for 1 and part of the second set.
I guarantee you, Coach Paschal right now is saying, hey, next guy misses a serve, someone's going in.
Next guy that misses a serve is stitching up. Can't settle. Some of that.
Yeah, seriously.
23-19. 4 straight combined service errors from the teams. Kevin Sagers.
I wonder if Sagers has the green light to go after the serve. That's the thing. You can't just serve easy because you got to make it tough on the passers. But you got to serve in. You got to give your team a chance. Frustrating.
3 straight service errors by the Cougars.
It's the thing about rally scoring. You get down a few points this late in a set, you know, it puts a lot of pressure on you. You know a missed serve is a point for the other team, but yet you still have to go after it to give your team a chance.
BYU needs a point right now.
Oh, no.
A set and in play, 25-19.
See, once again, that's not Matt Taylor's fault right there. That ball barely cleared the top of the tape. No way he's going to get a swing at that.
Andrew Stewart will come back in for Sagers.
You see right there how low that set was. Block all over it. I like that sub, though. I'd like taking Andrew out for a couple minutes, let him get his head together, let him realize, hey, I'm not going to stay in here unless I contribute. And we'll see if that lights a fire.
Ammerman.
Great pass.
Coming out blocks Silva right there, the 2008 Venezuelan Olympian. DePron, another block. UCI showing why they're #1 in the country. Taylor.
Taverna with the back set.
Stewart off the touch, still up. Taylor to fault, probably going out. Taylor saved it.
See if the Cougars can put up a block here.
Oh. That's the punctuation point to set 2 for UCI. 26-19. The exclamation point, that is.
Yeah, you cannot leave that guy alone. Yeah, the whole net to swing right there. #1 hitter in the country. Yeah, you've got to camp on him.
Carson Clark. Silva saves a would-be ace. Taverna back row. Taylor up. Taylor Wilson, that is. Blocking down. 26-20. BYU needs quite the run. They want to win set #2.
I like a sub here, too. I don't think Taverna is the strongest server on the team by any stretch. And decent jump serve here could get the Cougars back into it. Look at the blocks there. BYU just struggling at the net, blocking and hitting, as you can see there. 5.5 blocks there for Irvine. Starting to play like that #1 team.
And #1 in the country in blocks per set. DePron off the touch. A tough block. Makes for good offense. And Taylor, any touch there? Nope, out of play. This one's out of BYU's hands. 27-20, UCI in control and cruising to 30 in set number 2. BYU up 1-0 after winning the first set, 30-24. Jordan Dufault will serve.
BYU giving themselves opportunities, but unable to convert.
BYU hitting .059.
Wow.
Lavaya blocked there, and this is all UCI right now. The Cougars having a hard time getting the ball untouched when they swing.
As big as BYU was at the net in set 1, Irvine is just as big right now. BYU having a hard time getting the ball past him.
I think that number 1 swagger is back.
I agree. Wow.
Tamanov blocked, and 29-20. That sets up set point for set 2 for the number 1 team in the country, the UCI Anteaters. BYU's going to go into the break tied at 1 apiece.
Yeah, the Anteaters struggle to find their rhythm early on tonight, but have done so in spades in the second set.
Dufault. Good first pass by Silva. Here's Taylor blocked. That one over. And the lift. A crushing set 2 by UCI. We're tied up at 1 apiece. BYU played very well in set number 1. In set number 2, the block really set up UCI handling BYU as UCI went on a 9-3 run to close the set.
Yeah, BYU just never really in it in that second set. You know, we got a break here, a chance for the coach to talk to them, get in their heads a little bit, light a fire. We'll see how set 3 turns out here. 30-20, though, that is a shellacking.
So the Cougars hit in the negative in set number 2, and they lose it 30-20. Robbie Bullows with BYU head coach Sean Patchell. Robbie.
All right, Coach, 2 different sets there, sets 1 and set 2. First of all, set 1, how big was that for your team to get that win in that first set against the number 1 team in the country?
It was nice. You know, we played good defense around our disciplined block, and we want that side again.
And then in set 2, the service errors started coming out. What was the difference there in the second set?
They served very well. They got us out of system, and they're a good blocking team. So when they know where the ball's going, it's pretty easy for them. So we just need to sit down and pass a little better.
How are you handling Andrew Stewart and Kevin Sagers? You've kind of been subbing them in and out. You've looked to them to get a lot of kills. How are you handling that situation here tonight?
You know, it's just passing right now. We need to pass the ball better so we can attack the middle of the court.
All right. Good luck in the third set.
BYU wants to attack the middle. You got to pass well to do that. Well, we'll step aside for a few moments after 2 sets. We're tied up at 1 apiece. We've got a Cougar conversation with head coach Sean Patchell, and after the break, we'll have stats and highlights. UCI and BYU on BYU television. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Cougar Conversation. My name's Jerem Jordan. Today I'm chatting with men's volleyball player Matt Taylor. Matt, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It seems like practice is very competitive. I never know as the play-by-play when we do games on TV who's going to be the starting opposite. It's going to be you or Kent. Who's going to be outside, middle. There's a lot of talent in there. How fun/tough is practice for you?
It's tough. I mean, there's nothing tougher than having to fight for your spot, but that's what makes great competition. And other teams don't get that. I mean, we're about as deep a team as it comes, and that makes it really nice. We don't know who's going to start till 10 minutes before the game, but I mean, it makes practice fun. You're always somebody nipping at your heels, or you're always getting after somebody. So, I mean, the level of competition is just unbelievable.
So you went on your mission to Slovenia, Croatia, and Serbia. Were you able to play sports at all during that time?
No. My first mission president let us play basketball, but the second mission president, when he came, he actually had a conversation with President Hinckley. President Hinckley asked him, what are you going to do to double baptisms? And he goes, I'm going to work really hard. And he's like, I'll tell you what you do. You take away sports, and I guarantee you that you double baptisms. And we stopped playing every sport, and it actually happened. Double baptisms by the time I left the mission.
How has knowing you're going to host the NCAA championships here affected the team this year in terms of, hey, we want to get here and day in, day out, you kind of have that goal?
I think at the beginning of the year, you know, we were a pretty young team. You know, we have a lot of freshmen who are starting, and I think that kind of, at the beginning, we actually thought we were a young team. We didn't have great expectations. But as of recent, you know, we actually believe. I mean, it's such an advantage to be in Provo. This altitude, this fan base, it's a huge advantage, and we're starting to believe that we can be here and take advantage of that. We're going to win a national championship right here, and it's going to be beautiful.
You guys have played really well the last couple of matches. What's been the difference as you guys have started to peak late in the season?
I think it's just that, believing that it can be done. You know, we heard a lot of guys say, "Hey, it's okay. We're just a young team" earlier, and we don't accept that answer anymore.
Did you believe that yourselves in the beginning of the year?
I think, you know, at the very beginning of the year, you know, we go out to a tournament and we have a so-so match, and you're just like, well, we'll do better in the future. But, you know, there's no excuses now. It's game time, and we're going to win out our conference. We're going to win a national championship.
What's the best part of playing for BYU and in the Smith Fieldhouse?
The fans. I mean, this is where I grew up. I used to sit in the bleachers right back over there, watch all the great players here, you know. 5,000 people just screaming and yelling. It's the best. It's the greatest place to be.
Well, Matt, good luck on the rest of the season, and yeah, we look forward to that national championship.
All right, thanks.
George Albert Smith Fieldhouse on the campus of Brigham Young University is the site for the 2009 NCAA Men's Volleyball National Championships. BYU has never hosted the men's volleyball Final Four, and this marks the first time BYU has hosted an NCAA championship of any kind in 20 years.
The championships will take place the second weekend in May, with the semifinals on May 7th and the championship match on May 9th. Because women's conference normally falls on the same weekend as the volleyball championships, BYU has not been able to bid to host it. But this year was different.
Just an anomaly in the schedule this year pushed women's conference the week before the championship, and so we aggressively bid for the championship, knowing this is, you know, one of the only times in the next few years that we're going to be able to actually bid for it.
BYU announced last fall that the Smith Fieldhouse would host the championships. Tournament director Matt Nix says it will bring huge exposure to the university.
And we've hosted several regional championships, preliminary round championships of the NCAA. We've done that for most of our sports over the last 10 years, but never a national championship. It's a great opportunity to show off our facilities, show off our campus, show off our ability to run a great event.
The Smith Fieldhouse, with an official capacity of 5,000, will accommodate less people than the 22,700-seat Marriott Center could. But an increased capacity couldn't make up for a diminished atmosphere.
We felt that we would rather have 5,000 people packed into the Smith Fieldhouse, and the great environment for volleyball that creates, how close the fans are to the court, how loud it gets in here in the Smith Fieldhouse, was a better environment than, say, 10,000 people in the Marriott Center where it's half empty. The fans are further away from the court. It's not as volleyball friendly of an atmosphere.
In the end, it is the Smith Fieldhouse, not the Marriott Center, that coaches and players have learned to associate with BYU volleyball.
And it's a respected venue across the country. I mean, volleyball players, volleyball coaches know about the Smith Fieldhouse, and they know what a great environment it is to play here, and how exciting and how electric the atmosphere can be when the stands are full and you know, people are cheering for great volleyball.
It's loud. You know, we can pack it, and you know, we've been in here where, you know, the fire marshal gets a little nervous just because there's so many people.
BYU has won the NCAA Men's Volleyball National Championship 3 times in the last decade, and BYU head coach Sean Patchell knows there is no better place to win number 4.
We've won more in odd years, and it's an odd year. There's a reason for that. It's our schedule is such that we play some tough teams at home, and that goes back to our advantage playing at the Smith Fieldhouse. It's a long shot, but these guys are very capable of special things. They've proven that, and we're getting better.
Whether BYU makes the tournament or not, it will be a volleyball-centered weekend in Provo. Robbie Bolo, BYU Sports Network.
tied up at 1 set apiece between the #1 ranked UC Irvine Anteaters and the 6th ranked BYU Cougars. I'm Jerem Jordan alongside Steve Vale and Robbie Bullo, who is with UC Irvine head coach John Spera. Robbie.
All right, Coach, sets 1 and 2 there were very different. What was different for your team in set 2 to get that victory?
Gosh, we just kind of woke up a little bit and started to get excited about playing. It seemed like we came out there and, gosh, we were a little asleep. Our block was huge for us in game 2. That's really what got us going. And we served a little bit better. I think sometimes people talk about the altitude of BYU, and then they come here and they're so worried about it. They're spinning the ball in. They're not hitting their normal serves. We ended up having 9 missed serves, and none of them had to do with altitude. They were all in the net or way long. So we just had to get aggressive with our serve, and that helped our block.
With the season winding down, you are the #1 team in the country. Right now looks like a good chance that you could come back here for the Final Four. How important is it to come here and play in the Smith Fieldhouse to get ready for that?
Well, that seems like a long way away for me. There's so many good teams, and some of the teams that are in the lower part of the bracket right now for the playoffs are starting to play some great volleyball. So I don't know how much #1 really means right now. However, if we can get here, I think we're in a great spot because we're having this experience late in the season. That could be an advantage for us.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
Jaron, back to you.
Classy as always, Coach John Spera. Check him out in theaters in June. Beach Kings. And yeah, the block he mentioned was huge. Check it out. 8.5 blocks in set #2, and that's why you see BYU hitting in the negatives.
In the negatives, yeah, that's talk about coming back to earth. They've come back and then some, going from 500 to negative. So yeah, you can see there, 1 less kill than the Anteaters, even in digs, 8.5 blocks to 1.5. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And service errors there, BYU with 1 more. Anteaters really came alive with their serving in set 2, and 1 less assist than the Anteaters also. Yeah, the serving, as Coach Paschal mentioned, that's really what it was all about. They were able to keep the Cougars out of system, pushing the ball outside, and when they knew where it was going, they were all over it.
Cougars prior to tonight, 16-6 in set 2, only their 7th set 2 loss of the season. In their 3rd set, they're also very good, 14-9. So we'll see what happens as BYU faces off here in the second half, if you will. Best 5 got to win 3. You go to 30, except for set 5, which is to 15. And BYU ranked 6th in the country and 5th in the MPSF standings, taking on 2nd place in the conference, UC Irvine, by half a game to Pepperdine, and #1 ranked UCI. Throw those out. It's the best of 2 sets right now. 1-0 BYU. They won the first set after going up 1-0.
Yeah, that's a rare miss there. Let's see if the Cougars can capitalize after that missed serve.
Kent Tuttle, look at this, back in the game. Not sure if he got stitches or not, but either way, he is back in there after injuring his head in set 2. 2-0 BYU on the block.
And really, if you think about it, that's when they started to fall apart. Yeah, they coasted through the end of that first set, but it was pretty much over anyway. And then without him on the floor in set 2, boy, they were lost.
You're right, it was set 1, correction.
I love that show, by the way.
That is a great show. I still have yet to watch this week, so I'm excited to see it. 2-1. BYU will play UC Irvine tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, right here on BYU television. It's the final home match and our final broadcast of men's volleyball on the season. You don't want to miss it. Alex Tron, perfect first pass. Outside to Andrew Stewart, dug up by Brent Asuka. Clark blocked. BYU bringing the block back after it left the building in set #2. Futi Tavanan, that's going out 3-1, excuse me. BYU, that's really the key, I think, to BYU's game is put up a big block and hit well.
That's it. That's huge for them, and they really didn't do that in the second set. So far in this third, they've come out like they did in the first.
That one just too easy and awkward. Kevin Wynn with the kill. BYU not able to get under it. Wynn with the kill. Third for him. No errors tonight. A dig and 6 block assists for Kevin Wynn at the net. He's been huge.
Wynn with the changeup.
Tavanagh blocked, but into the net. Taylor Wilson called for the infraction. 4-2. BYU starting set 3 nicely. We're tied up at 1 apiece.
It's really about intensity at this point. If they stay focused and play with this intensity throughout the third and fourth set, it should be all over.
Savana with the shoes from the basketball team. The volleyball team did not have a size 16. So borrowing from the B-ball team, and the Cougars up 5-2 on that miss swing, up by 3. Savana, return missionary and freshman for the Cougars. A bright future at middle for Futi. Blocked again, Asuka. Laying it out, touch again, Tuttle.
Oh, nice set.
And the swing by DePron, what a play!
DePron just teed off on that. That's a tough ball to hit, coming all the way from behind you across your body. Just found the hands and blasted it right off him.
DePron on the former teammates. Kent Tuttle back in the game. Robbie Bullough has more on him.
Well, Jeremy Tuttle is back in. It's certainly helping the Cougars here in this set. He did get stitches from the doctor, but they found no signs of concussion, so they let him go back into the game. I assume they told him not to do any more diving into the benches, but no signs of concussion, but he did get the stitches. He's cleared to play.
Okay, thanks. Great work, Robbie.
I would hope he learned that on his own.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. If there's a ball and the game's on the line, he's going to be diving in.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a wise man who learns from others' mistakes, and you will not see me diving into the bench tonight.
Then why do you have knee pads on right now? 6-3 the score, and there are pads to prevent such a head injury in front, but he crashed through them and hit it. Rusty Levaya with the gross miss hit out of play, 6-4. BYU only up by 2 despite a solid start.
That's unfortunate. As you see there, he didn't have a block up against him. He had the entire floor and just missed that out of bounds.
Carson Clark off the net. DePron. Good first pass. Back set to Tuttle. But out of play. Kent Tuttle. Flying from the right side. 6-5.
Hammer by him.
Clark again. Big set 3 here.
Great dig.
Pounded Ammerman sitting on the scorer's table after that set. Back row Stewart. Off the touch and out of play. Andrew Stewart with the kill, the former Alta Hawk.
Andrew Stewart out of the back row. I was really surprised to not see Carson really go after that second serve. And that gave the Cougars an opportunity to put the ball away. See if Yamil goes after his. About 70%.
Clark again and Stewart right there. My goodness. Levaya and Tuttle. Wow. A great first pass. Rusty Levaya with the perfect set and the kill. 8-5.
Levaya giving Yamil a breather there to focus on jump serving. I got this. Great hands there. And Tuttle. Nice swing off the hands and out of bounds.
5th kill for Kent. 2 digs and a block assist tonight.
That one about 80%. Decent pass. Low set.
Blocked by Tuttle. Taylor Wilson. Stewart in the right place. Here's Perez outside to DePron. What a dig by Clark. And that one out of play on BYU side. 9-5.
Clark just lifted that ball, but just about 3 feet out of bounds is all. BYU playing well.
3-0 run by the Cougars puts them up 9-5.
Okay, 4 feet out of bounds.
The block is returned for BYU, and they are hitting well. Close to 400 and up by 4 in set 3.
Le pusieron un cierre, un zipper le pusieron en la cabeza.
Vos sabés que me contaban, muchachos de
I'm gonna have to call you back.
And Cosmo running the camera now. I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was this. Okay, he's got to adjust the focus maybe a little bit, but like the multi-talented and very popular Cosmo can do it all. I didn't know he was running camera for us tonight. Nice job by.
What can't that cat do?
Yeah, like Cosmo Kramer. 10-5 now. Another one for the Cougars. And they are up by 5, and hope you enjoyed that baseball commercial. Long time coming in getting that one out. But Scott Hill, our the executive producer, the umpire there. I guess he doubles on the weekends as an umpire. I didn't know that. Yamil Perez from the service line. He continues. This is the guy who wanted the line for BYU. Taylor Wilson. Silva right there. Outside to DePron off of the touch. Nice up by Dufault. Back set Clark. Well executed play, but not to the finish. Out of play, and look at this, Steve. BYU on quite the run right now. Up by 6 in set 3.
I was surprised that first ball didn't go to Clark. Went to Taylor Wilson instead was Doug. Then he went to Clark, and Clark spatches it way out of bounds. Yeah, it's funny. They're just flip-flopping right now. The Anteaters out of system in game 1. Cougars in game 2, and it's the Anteaters' turn again in 3. Oh, wow, look at that pass.
And it's good if it's odd for BYU, because then you get the 5th set, if that's going to be the case.
That's true.
12-5 the score. A 6-0 run by BYU.
And lots of ball for us. Sparrow wants to talk about it again. Setter, I don't think that's a smart play by him to try to hit that ball. Very, very settable. He's got some big cannons that he can dish that ball to. And that Cougar block was all over that swing.
Cougars up by 7. Made a nice little run. Prior to that, UCI made a 3-0 run to cut it to 7-5. But now it's 12-5, and you see the smile on Andrew Stewart's face, having fun. Winning is certainly fun. Participating, you know, there's innate fun with playing the game, certainly. But yeah, it's fun when you win, and BYU tied at 1 set apiece. It's 12-5 right now, and UCI hitting close to -200. BYU at 333 so far, and BYU is. What has BYU done better in set number 3?
You know, one thing I was thinking is the Anteaters came out of that break really early. I mean, they were out here peppering just moments after we went to break, and so I'm sure Coach Sparrow was just like, "Hey, you guys played great in set 2. Just keep doing what you're doing." And I don't know what Patchell said to his guys, but boy, he lit a fire. They came out and they're playing awesome right now. So maybe that's it. Maybe whatever it was the coach said there during the break kind of got them a little bit more excited to come out and play with more intensity. And you know, that's so far. I mean, they're up 7, not even halfway through this 3rd set.
12-5, Yamil Perez.
Love that, going after it, first serve back.
Another block, BYU up 13-5.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Sparrow's out of timeouts for this set, so his guys just got to struggle through it and try to find some rhythm here. And the Cougars doing everything they can to take that rhythm away.
Up by 8, 13-5. Yamil.
Like to see Yamil just serve this set out. Oh, that's pretty.
14-5, BYU with an awesome run to increase it to 9. They are on an 8-0 run.
Sparrow doing anything he can at this point to slow things down, bringing in a couple of subs. I love this serve right here. You bomb at them 2-3 times, get them back on their heels, a little deeper in the court. It sets up that little loopy serve perfectly, and he hit it perfectly. Commanding lead here in the 3rd set.
Fueled by Yamil Perez at the net, and they've kept it in. And finally, that ends the 8-0 run. Robbie Bullough is with a special guest.
That's right, Jerem. Futi Tawana's brother Dennis is here all the way from Hawaii, and I have